addiction. We couldn't always find the help we needed. We were turned away a lot. He struggled to be sober constantly and fell down all the time, thinking that that made him a failure, where I told him I couldn't believe the courage he had to keep getting up. He just kept getting up, you know, and he kept going back and fighting the good fight like these guys. And that in itself is so amazing. The fact that they're sitting here is amazing. The fact that we're able to talk to them is amazing. Living through this is hard. Living where they've been, living where I am, it's hard. And it's hard because it is so out of our control and so sometimes within our control. And by the grace of God, or by the grace of whatever it is that you use to get you through every day, you can hope that one day you can learn something that'll get you to the next day, because the fight that we all go through, it sucks. I mean, I love to go and tell everybody that the hope that we should have is amazing, and I have it every day. I go out and hope for the people that I meet, the people that I haven't met. I don't want anyone to go through what Colton went through. I certainly don't want other parents to live through what I've lived through. I don't want anyone to live like my daughters have lived. But I'm so grateful to be able to stand here and tell you that because of Colton's life and through his death, you're all here today because of something we started back in 2016, and the amount of people that get touched because of what we did one day, having a barbecue to share the message of hope and opportunity, and that people need to get out there. Our communities need to have places and resources for our families to go. They need to be talking about it and making it okay. The secret that we hold inside of ourselves hurts us, and I don't care if it's a secret of addiction, molestation, being abused, women, men, and children. Doesn't matter what your secret is. When you keep it, it tumbles around, like Mark said, and becomes the problem again. You have to release it. People are afraid of being judged. They're afraid of what their families are going to think. They're afraid of what their neighbors, their coworkers. Well, I grew up in such a dysfunctional way that I learned a lot at an early age about codependency and dysfunction, and I had the good opportunity to have a mother who taught me a lot about that. And what that helped me do was raise my son, give him opportunities that we would not have had, raise my daughters to understand what all of it means to be self-aware and understand self-responsibility, but also understand that the human is the human, and we all have that condition, like it or not, and it makes us imperfect, although we are so perfect in every way. And my hope is that if we can encourage every community to open up places like Sparks of Hope. Sparks started because of a barbecue that we had, a flyer we put in it, and a benefit that we had, bringing information to a community that otherwise wasn't talking about it. They understood the message we gave, and some very brave, incredible people got together and took an opportunity that they had with some space that they had and started an organization to do exactly what we're hoping that more people will do. Colton's Journey goes out and talks in different places, at different locations. We offer meetings in different places at different locations. And in the beginning, we were in some different towns, and right now we're in Hamburg, here actually, several times a month, offering classes for all kinds of opportunities to learn, whether it be something about meditation, something about holistic learning and medicine, other ways to cope with stress, anxiety, telling your story, making it important to understand why to tell your story. I want us to get into every community in the United States and internationally, so that people know that every community needs us, not me. They need us as humans, opening our hearts and our stories so that they too can come and do healing. The 12-step program and other programs like it that aren't even called 12-step or don't use 12-step, it doesn't matter which one you start with, because if it doesn't work, there's another one down the road. And if we can teach people that there's more than one opportunity anywhere, that they'll reach for that one more thing, that one more time. suicide and addiction are a hand-in-hand process. My son was going to commit suicide the week before he passed away. He was going to commit suicide because he had relapsed yet again, and he knew that the rabbit hole he was about to go down was going to rip his life away from him. He would lose his job, he would be stealing again, he would be selling again, he would be using again, he would hurt everyone he knows, he would hurt himself, and he couldn't live with what that meant. Because he already loathed everything about himself. As much as he wanted to love himself, he couldn't. Because he didn't know how to hang on to his sobriety for more than ever 90 days, other than while he was in Renaissance House. For those of you that don't know what Renaissance House or Kids Escaping Drugs is, it's a place in Western New York that we have available to us that most places in the nation, and it's surely not in the world, have. It's a benefit that we have, that our children that are over the age of 12 and under the age of 21 have a chance to go in and learn what the whole disease is, how to function in it, and teaches the family at the same time. That's where I learned how the peer-to-peer groups work, why they're so important, and how come, and to ask the question, why are there not more? Why are they not in all of our communities? Why do we not have these everywhere? Peers for me, peers for my son, peers for my daughters, peers for you. And it really doesn't matter. I don't care if you have OCD or addiction or alcoholism. It's all the same. It's all part of our human condition, which everybody wants to confuse. You can give it any name you want. We all suffer from it in different ways. Some of us just do a little better with it than others. And the ones that find a place to get the help and the hope that they need, and they can go out and do what we do. I go out to help other people so that I can live with the loss of my son. Colt and I left it all, and I say this all the time, and I mean it every day. And Rich touched on it. You leave anything unsaid and that loved one you have dies. You don't tell your neighbor because you were afraid and your loved one dies. You don't tell a friend, or you didn't do something that you found out you could do because you were ashamed, scared. When they die, you will have to live with that. Can you live with that? And do you ask yourself that question every time you're making a decision? I had to live with this decision every day. Am I helping him live, or am I helping him die? That was my decision every day. And it's a cold, hard fact. I hated asking myself that, but it was the question that I had to ask myself. Is this decision going to help him live today or die today? That makes it a lot easier and a lot more clear when you're making a decision. I'm going to tell you that right now. And I loved him too much to help him die. So every decision I made had to be something I could live with if he died that day, and help him flourish, hopefully. But I never knew. You just don't know. But you have to make the best decision you can with that kind of intent. Because that's what we're really talking about when it comes to things like alcoholism and addiction. The decisions we make are whether they're going to live or going to die. Not because it's our responsibility, but whether I gave him a house to live in, gave him a car to drive, put money in his pocket. Was that something, did the decision I make that day help him go use, or did it help him find recovery and help himself? Did it push him into a place like what Rich said he never would have gone had he not been left with any other decision? Colton would one day want to use and one day not want to use, and the window of opportunity was so small, and we got turned away so many times from so many places. So we want the communities to have peer support groups, as many of them as we can, and get people to them. We want community support groups to also have classes where we can learn and find all kinds of alternatives for helping ourselves live through the life that we live, and help our loved ones find ways to do it too. And it doesn't matter if it's learning to eat for your brain so that when you're in recovery, the cravings can be diminished, which is a real fact. Who knows? Nobody knows, so we want classes. And the other thing is, I don't know what other people think. I don't know what they live through. I just know what we lived through. All of our experiences, although they are very similar, are not the same. We're all very individual, and our lives are very individual. What sparks me may not spark you, but the one thing that is true is if one of us dies and our loved one is sitting next to us, there's pain that goes with it. If you're watching your loved one suffer, there's pain that goes with it. what Lexi is living through in what she's going through with her loved ones, having it be so full, well-rounded, having lost a brother, still having a brother that uses, another family member that uses, a boyfriend who she has a son with. That's such a big universe, right? That's a big